Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the most exciting. I think we're at about 40 minutes now. I mean,
Wow.
it just they keep adding time because it is so exciting and riveting.
Well,
And the music kind of gets you going.
I'm thinking that we're going to interrupt the Oscars.
I think it's fair.
We're going to come in like when it starts to slow, they're popping in that extra 20-minute segment of us.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm all for it. How about this? Remember when
Oprah's been inquiring about us.
Yeah, wants to know why we're on TV.
How is that possible?
Remember when we had that lively discussion about Valentine's Day and
Yeah, and you
how
were
wonderful it is
and how warm
what a
you are. Yeah,
great holiday that is
yeah,
for Hallmark and no one else.
right.
This woman at Michael's game last night, because up to me, she goes, "Coach, I just want to say Happy Valentine's Day." I thought it was great.
Just to bust your
She
chops.
was laughing, having a great time. Loved it.
And Michael
Then
is your
she shot.
son.
Then she stabbed me with an arrow.
That's what she really wanted to do. Now, Michael is your son, who's a senior at East Catholic, and didn't they win their regular season?
Yeah.
They won their regular season championship.
Tournament starts next week.
Yep, and there was a
They're
little tidbit.
Sixth in the state.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And on his senior night, which you at least did have one senior night this year,
Right.
that you and Kathy went out with Michael, and then he had a career-high 33
Yeah.
that night. The team was there. A lot of people were there. That was a great
He
game.
made more threes that game than we make like in 2 months. He made 9. But yeah, they say some interesting things to him when he's playing.
The players do?
The fans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
has it been hard for him because
I think so.
you're his father and
Sure. Every time he misses a shot or every time he does something, you know, there's a lot of stuff going back and forth between the student section and the court. You know, they say some funny things, and he laughs. And, you
well,
know,
it's good that he
the way you
laughs.
answer that is make another shot.
Yeah, and he drained, what did he have, 6 threes?
9.
9?
Yeah, 9
Oh
for
my
11.
gosh. That's unbelievable.
But
yeah,
he matched his career high on taking charges, 0. He's allergic to physical contact.
well, I was waiting for that
Somebody
because
asked him how-
you had some compliments in there. so I was waiting for a zinger.
Somebody asked me, how long is the court? You know, most people tell you it's 94,
Feet.
you know, by 50 or something like
Yeah.
that. His is like 70. He goes from three-point line to three-point line. Somebody said, you know, what color is the lane at East Catholic? He goes, I don't know, I've never been there. The three-point line is like a minefield, the abyss. He gets right up to it and looks over the edge, whoo, and then backs off. Never enters it.
You're brutal. Now, what is he going to do next year? Any idea?
I don't know.
He
Probably
wants to
bug
play?
me for a car, you know, still take money from me, live at home. I'm trying to get rid of him, but nobody wants him.
That's not true.
He's got a couple choices to go to college.
Yeah, good.
Mhm.
And he wants to play?
Yeah. Yeah, he wants to play.
Good.
He's pretty adamant about it.
All right.
And he's going to.
Good. Yeah, he's a great teammate and a good kid.
He is. And he eats a lot, so
He does.
that scholarship's going to
Be well worth it.
be well worth it.
He'll get his money's worth.
Yes, they will.
All right, so we got that covered. Anything else? You want to talk about Brittany and
Brittany played a little bit. Spears, or no, she has no hair now. Is that who you mean?
I was talking about Britney Spears.
Oh.
Because, all this ridiculous stuff in the media. I mean, my gosh. Let's
Yeah.
talk about fun stuff. Let's talk about the Huskies.
Well, I was hoping it wouldn't come out that I was with Anna Nicole Smith the night she died. I was trying not to let that come out because it's not something I'm proud of. But the only thing I can claim is that's not my baby.
Okay, good to know.
But I was with her the night she died. We were working on her step back move, and I don't know whether that killed her or not, but that probably will be on
Oh, you bored her to death.
Entertainment Tonight coming up soon.
All right, well, let's get to the Pitt game.
Matter of fact, I might have been the only one that wasn't with her that night. There were more people with her than there were at our game against South Florida.
Which was a record crowd.
Which was a record crowd,
Which
5,000.
beat the previous record, which was the last time you guys were there in
Correct.
04. So
Correct.
you have a tendency,
To attract large crowds
yeah.
wherever we go.
So
I
you
said
might
that
be
to
called
somebody.
a freak show.
Yeah, we're like, I used to say the circus is in town because whenever we would come in, people go, oh, we got to go see these guys play. But every time we've gone to Florida, we've had great crowds.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's January or February, and there's obviously an awful lot of people from Connecticut down there.
Well, it was wild because we were, Bob and I were out there doing our stand-up before the game, and the team came out for like your pre-warm-up, and the ovation
Yeah.
for your team was louder
Yeah.
than for South Florida. And I was sort of embarrassed for the home team a little bit, but I know they were thrilled to have the crowd there. And you had a great quote in the paper about how, for a lot of years, you had a record crowd at the Civic Center of 16,000 people.
We sold out every game we ever played at the Civic Center.
Right. So the last couple of years, you've only had 14,000, and you say you know where the other 2,000 are.
I said, people said, you're down 2,000. I said, and we found them. At least 2,000
They're down in Tampa.
Are in the Tampa area. So, what can I tell you? If we could send some shuttle buses there, we could get back to 16,000.
Absolutely. So, all right, well, let's go back a couple games to the Pitt game, which was a nice homecoming for Shea Ralph. You got to see her.
Yep.
But now the first half, you guys played exceptionally well.
This was a Charles Dickens game. It was a tale of two halves. The first half we were great. We didn't do. I don't think we made one mistake the entire first half. And the second half was completely different. But we've gotten ourselves into a pretty good rhythm. Where we're getting some scoring from a lot of different places. Our transition game's been good. But the key again to our team is how well we move the ball. How well Renee gets the ball up the floor, and that's a big reason right there. Sade Houston's just been fabulous.
She's in a groove these last couple weeks.
She is, and watch this play. Defensively, she just makes. Look at that. She just makes plays, like a couple right in a row.
Right.
I think one of these times the kid just throws it right to her. See, I wish Tina would do more of that. Look at that. That's an old Catholic school play, you sneak up behind the guy.
Sue Bird did that a lot, too.
Yeah. Well, the problem is Sue Bird did it at the top of the key, where if she missed, her get a layup. Look at that move. Kalena Green. I'd like to see her dunk it one time. You know why our press is good sometimes? We never work on it. When we practice stuff a lot, it doesn't work.
So that should tell you something.
Yeah. Watch, I think this is coming up right here. Oh, I didn't show it. We're one of the things we were trying to do is get, it's at the end of the half right here. One of the things we're trying to do is get more people involved. Right now, it's been Tina, Sade, Renee. We've got to find, not that that's bad, but I think we've got to get Kalena back on track. These have been pretty much the numbers that Sade's had, for about the last month, and Renee's starting to shoot the ball.
Yeah, her three-point percentage over the last 3-4 games is pretty remarkable.
That's why I didn't worry about it when they weren't going in. It's when you're a good three-point shooter, you just keep shooting, and eventually they'll go in. And obviously Tina's field goal percentage is usually really high, which you sometimes don't understand. Like, if you're Tina Charles, how do you go 4 for 9? How do you miss more shots than you make when the furthest shot you take is 2 feet?
Yeah, well, number one, you're a freshman, but you got kids banging on you.
Yeah.
She's got a bad arm.
Yeah.
So when she gets up into this position, that's when her arm is at the most vulnerable, when she gets hit.
Is that what it is?
She ends up sometimes throwing it because she's afraid to get hit, maybe. I don't know. Just a guess.
I just thought maybe it's because sometimes I catch her closing her eyes when she shoots it. Her and Kylie think that if they make shots with their eyes closed, they get more than 2. Degree of difficulty. And then the second half, we get it. We're up 20-something, and then all of a sudden we go on a mental vacation. We just decide, heck with it. Sade's gotten pretty good at dropping the ball in there, too.
Yeah, she's a really good passer in the lane like that.
Yeah. That's her game right there. That's her game right there.
She's unbelievable.
Yeah. Pretty difficult to guard her when she's doing that. See what I mean? That was if I close my eye here, we'll see what happens. But when we're moving the ball, look at that. That was a big shot right there. When she makes them from deep.
Yeah.
Now look, we're up 25 and whatever it was. Now all of a sudden they're making it a game. We just got content to trade baskets with them, but they're not the easiest team in the world to guard either.
Well, yeah, and it's not like they're.
I mean, Mercedes Walker. Let me tell you something. That's one big girl.
Right.
She's hard to guard. Look at her. She got 11 offensive rebounds. She got more offensive rebounds than our two post players combined. There you go. Boom. Oh, and one. Yeah, look at her. She's like, did it go in? I didn't see it.
Did she wear that mouth guard all year?
No, she just started wearing it.
Why?
Snuck it in on me. I don't know. You know, how many women do you know have gotten their teeth knocked out playing basketball? Not many, but she has to have it in there. And I say, how do you call plays?
Second chance points and points off turnovers. You guys really took advantage there.
Yeah, we did. You know, our bench hasn't been that great lately.
Your bench has really provided very little the last couple games.
Our bench has not been good. We've got to fix that. Our bench has not been good.
Well, and I've thought
Keisha's slowed down a tad.
But, you know, it's not like she goes in and gets nothing done. She makes everyone else around her better, and so she may not bring points in, but she enables other kids to score.
Yeah, we've got to do a better job, I think, of getting more production out of our bench.
Yeah.
Kylie's got to start giving us something.
Right.
You know, and if we can do that, then Keisha's had a great year. She really has.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, I think she may even have more steals than turnovers. I mean, she's actually close. So when you add up her assists and steals, and then you throw in her turnovers, it's unbelievable.
Right.
I mean, she's got like 160 combined assists and steals, and she might only have 60 turnovers.
Wow.
So it's like 3 to 1 almost.
Yeah, she is just the sweetest, nicest kid.
She is, and I'm happy for her because I remember when she was a freshman, I told her this the other day. I said, I wasn't sure that we could have you as our point guard. She said, why? I said, because we've never had a learning disabled point guard who would have a really hard time understanding any of our plays or any of our defenses. So I was just concerned that maybe we would have to figure out a different way to do it. She started laughing. And it was just like, she said, Coach, I didn't know anything about anything. Like everything you guys said was like
Greek.
And now you watch her play and she's like, you know,
and
everything.
What's been the difference?
Just
maturity,
just confidence. Confidence, maturity, being involved. And, you know, when you're not confident, you know, it's like when you're driving and you come to an intersection, you're not sure. The first thing you do is you stop and you stare and wait for what? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, in basketball, it's the same thing. When you're not sure, you just freeze right in the middle and you're not sure. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I pass? Should I shoot? And now when you know, you just go. And that's what she does.
An instinct.
Now she just plays. She just plays.
Yeah, she's the best. And her parents, her father comes to
every game. Just about every game.
Yeah.
You know, he's a retired military guy, and a couple tours of Iraq. He's one of the greatest guys I ever met.
Yeah, and her mom.
Her mom doesn't come to the
Rosie
games
was
because she gets too. She gets too
well,
aggravated. And Keisha's scared to death of her mom, so it's
well,
good.
explain her what her mother did for a living as well.
Her mom was in the military as well. She was over in Kosovo when they had that whole thing, and you know, she's in charge of a group of soldiers, and when she says jump, they go up, and they don't come down until she says come down.
And to meet Rosie, the sweetest. I mean, both of her parents are wonderful, but to talk to her mother, you would never have any idea that was her job.
No, the nicest people.
And that all of these men would whimper at the sight of her.
Well, when we went to her house to recruit her, you knew right away when you walked in, this isn't an ordinary home.
How so?
Well, first of all, like my kitchen table at home, I think, and my mom's, I think it's pretty clean. Their garage floor was cleaner than that. I mean, it was like walking in and you knew that everything was in its proper place, and you could just tell that discipline that comes from being in the military, boom, 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 boom. I mean, it was fantastic, you know, but not to the point where it's like.
It's not lived in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that.
They're very warm people.
Very
as well.
warm, and everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
Everything, you know, there's nothing left undone. And,
Right. And Keisha is a yes ma'am. She was saying yes ma'am to me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Keisha, I'm not a ma'am. I mean, I know I'm older than you, but not that old.
Well, in the South, ma'am is a term of endearment.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, she used to say a lot of that. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And Kalena does the same thing.
Yeah.
No, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You know, and I try to tell them. I said, don't ever lose that, baby. That's what I want. Every time I walk in the room, I want yes, sir, no, sir. And I want a snappy salute.
All right.
But it's just the way they grow up, those kids.
Yeah, they're wonderful kids.
The best.
All right, so now we were talking a little bit before about South Florida. So you guys go down there. And, you know, I had heard that the weather wasn't that nice, but it was 75 degrees, and a cold spell had been
you know,
broken
people
the
are
day
walking
before.
around with hats and coats and scarves and gloves.
It's 70.
And it's like 65 degrees, and they're all panicking. But one of the things that, it's funny, she just gets it going. It's unbelievable. Shorty. You know what?
Shard.
You would think that because of her size, we would put her in the back of the press. We put her in the front of the press because she just attacks the ball.
She is unbelievable.
Yeah, when we put her in the back of the press and she's got to like decide where the ball's going, that's when she gets a little bit like, where should I go? But when we put her in the front, and again, we very rarely practice that, which makes it really, really good for us. That's
See,
a
that's
great
where
play
Keisha's
right
at
there.
her best. She's
Yeah.
not going to score necessarily, but she'll set someone else up.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the first half was played a little too quickly for us.
It was a track meet.
It was a little too quick. That's another good play there. How about that shot? There's only one player on our team that could even attempt that shot.
Yeah, Kalena.
This is good right here. Nice cut. That came out of a timeout. Sometimes out of a timeout, we run into each other. Guys forget, but that was a walk. They
Yeah,
got
I
away
thought
with.
so.
But then, thank God, they missed the layup. The first half was way, way, way too fast.
Well, yeah, I thought you played into their hands a little bit. I think they wanted to.
Yeah.
They knew they couldn't guard you
Yeah.
in the half
I think
court.
we wanted the game to be quick.
Right.
But it was way
Frenetic,
too fast.
yeah.
Yeah, way too fast. And then once we got control of the game, Sade had another great game. You know, just.
With 19 field goal attempts, how many shots a game would you
She
like?
took 19 shots?
That's what it says.
Wow.
I trust
What a
my
gunner.
boy Ed. He's got it all set.
Wow.
Well,
But you know what? I don't think there were only a couple bad shots.
I would think the more shots she takes, the better, provided
Yeah.
they're the right ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you want her scoring,
We do.
especially when you're not getting anything off your bench.
We do. We need her to take, I would say 15 minimum, 15 shots every game. Mm-hmm. That would be a good number as far as I'm concerned.
How about
But
T-
that's not the story of that game. The real star of that game, what a segue, huh? Was who?
Tina Charles.
Tina Charles.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
she did.
Was.
She played great.
She was.
Oh,
That's not Tina. She was fabulous. I mean, it was maybe as good an individual performance as I've seen.
right.
Not just by a freshman, but by any. I mean, look at all that. I mean, 34 points and
The most ever by a freshman.
and if you
34
look back
points.
at those 5 shots she missed, I'm telling you can't see my fingers. They're like a foot from the basket. She could have had 60,
Yeah.
but you know, and one of these days she is,
Yeah,
because
oh,
she's
she
going to
will.
make all those. But
She had 17 rebounds.
yeah. You know, her free throw shooting is. This is a kid who was shooting 40% from the free
Right.
throw line earlier.
What's been
She's
the
starting
difference?
confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence.
Yeah.
You know, people would say, "Don't you practice free throws?" No, we don't. We go to practice and we go, "Listen, I don't want anybody to practice free throws." I mean, what do you think? Of course, we practice free throws.
Well, there are people who want you to do the underhand.
Yeah.
They want you to just underhand it.
Yeah. Well, I think our players can miss any which way: underhanded, overhanded, one-handed, left-handed. You know. But Tina Charles, it's all confidence. It's all confidence.
So the second half, you guys continued
Yeah.
what you had done in the first.
You know, Renee can make that shot better than she can make like an open 10-footer.
Going to the right, kind of on the run like that, in traffic, falling down usually. She's really
Great
good.
pass. Yeah. Standing there looking at the basket, she's not as good.
Sade's passing, by the way, it's always been good, but it's just looking better and better.
Yeah. See how patient she was there?
Yeah.
That'd be great if we showed that again, Tony. But what happened was, here comes it. See how patient she is?
Yeah, remember she used to walk.
She used to get it and run.
Yeah, is that what she's done? She's
Yeah.
just slowed it down
Just slow
like
down.
a
See?
half a
See?
second?
Yeah. You know, sometimes the ref will go walking. I said, no, it's a bad call. She ran. And now she just has this patience about her, this calmness about her. Here we're going to run Detroit, and we're going to get a lap. Thank you.
Whoa.
Now,
you guys
I wish
got
we
some
showed
good rolls.
some stuff here. Renee has found another way of entering the ball into the post to Tina Charles. She drives in, throws it at the rim, and we offensive rebound and score.
All right.
Which is not a bad way to go,
It
you
worked.
know? I think we've been handling the ball a little bit better. We've become a little bit better passing the ball.
Well,
you know,
now it's like when people full court press you, they do it sort of at their own peril because you have been handling it really well where you get a layup or a wide open three.
Yeah. Seeing bench points, 2.
Yeah. Well, USF only
But let
had
me tell you
9.
something. Second chance points, 15.
Yeah.
South Florida is the best offensive rebounding team in the league. And we held them to 5 points on second shots, and we
Yeah.
got 15. And that was the key going in. We said if we can keep them off the backboard, if we can out-rebound them, then we're going to win the game.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah, and I did notice because Chris Daly told me that before the game you needed to box out. And it was fun to watch you guys in the beginning of that game, particularly just every blue jersey had a guy and boxed out.
And, you know, it's not that boxing out's not that important. It is. But there's some kids that are great at boxing out. And then there's some that are great rebounders.
Right, they just go for the ball.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, those two things don't go together. Some kids just, they can't wait to box out. And they box out and they average 1 rebound a game. But at least their man's not getting the ball.
Well, hey, that's something.
So that's the way we teach it.
Right, because I've seen a lot of times this year the ball actually hits the floor.
Well,
which is fine because now the offensive team is not getting it, but so many guys are boxed out
That's right.
that the ball hits the floor. Now they just got to release and go get it. But
my thing is this. When the shot goes up, you have 2 things you have to do. Either make sure your man doesn't get it or you get the rebound. If you accomplish one of those 2 things, then we're good.
right.
One of the things that we've had to work real hard on is a couple of our guards, I won't mention any names, but like number 10 is especially guilty of this. Shot goes up, and here's what she does. She watches the ball hit the rim, and then she goes, I think there's somebody that I'm supposed to be boxing out. Oh, it's the guy that just got the offensive rebound, laid it in. So we're trying to get her to understand that when the shot goes up, don't look and see where the ball's going. Find the guy who's crashing, get a body on him, and then release for the outlet pass. And we're getting better at it. We're getting better at it.
You are. Are you working on it?
No, that's why we're getting better at it.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, we were talking a little bit about Tina, Charles. We have a nice little package on Tina. And you mentioned about the confidence before. I mean, think about you.
Charles in charge.
in charge is right. I mean, the way she's been playing lately.
That's a confident shot right
Yeah.
there. You know, she actually looks, I mean, she looks like a player, doesn't she?
Yeah. Oh, my God. She's a stud.
You know, when you, see, patience in the post. That's one of the things we
Now,
preach.
where are we now? We're in the middle of February.
Yeah. Patience
End
in
of
the post.
February. So, like back in October,
Oh, yeah,
she
that-
would not
no.
have even
No.
thought of some of the plays that she's
No.
making.
Back in October, you know what would have happened? She would have dribbled twice, took a fadeaway jump shot.
Yeah.
So, for her to do that as a freshman, takes a lot of guts, right? After they just cut it to 9,
Right.
you know? She's a tremendous offensive rebounder. She's got such long arms, you know?
Yeah.
And she's got that sneaky thing on defense where she lets you drive by her and then tries to block the shot from behind. Very sneaky.
Very sneaky. We'll
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as she continues to block the shot without committing fouls, it'll work for you, right?
Yeah, well, once out of every 9, it does work. But
She's showing more and more emotion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, when you look at it, what's she averaging? 12 points a game.
Yeah, 13.
She's missed half her free throws. That's another 60 points in 20 games, 25 games.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time she graduates and she fixes, you know, the free throws, the little missed chippies around the basket, I mean, there's no telling what this kid
Well,
could do.
now she's wearing the shoulder sleeve. Is that more of a mental thing, or is this a chronic problem that does affect her on a daily basis?
I think it's an intimidating thing. We want her to look like, Russell Crowe in The Gladiator. So we put this thing on her. We're going to put some tattoos on it, and just come out there. But actually, the thing just keeps popping out. Now, I don't know whether this helps or not, because it's also come out when she's had it on.
Yeah.
It happened in practice one day. She went up for a rebound and got her hand caught, and then she's out for, 15 minutes.
It's amazing.
She's going to have surgery eventually, but her shoulder just keeps popping
right?
out.
She should do it in the spring, I would think.
Yeah, I would think she's going to have to get something done, and she's going to have to balance. She wants to play USA basketball. She wants to, keep getting better, but at the same time, I don't know that she wants to deal with this for 4 years.
Well, I was shocked when she told me early in the season that this has been happening since she's 12.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the ligaments must be so stretched out, and having dislocated both my shoulders, I know how it feels, and it's you are a Harriet is a bad person.
Oh, look at that face.
Do you know what? I knew the lady was taking the picture, honest to God, and I hammed it up.
Look at
Dr.
that
Bruce
face.
Dick, who was our doctor. That was the actual play that I dislocated it on.
Wow,
I fouled out, I think.
Yeah, but look at those guns. Woo!
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Nothing left now. A lot of fat now.
Oh, man. Guns are silent. The war's over. The war's over.
Yeah, no war here.
No war there, baby.
That was a little trick. I didn't know that was coming. Very cute, Harriet. I don't know what to say.
Stunned now, aren't you?
Stunned silence.
Stunned in the silence.
Let's get back to. Well, first of all, you guys.
Memories.
You guys clinched the regular season for the first time in 2 years.
I know. I remember people were saying that. First time in 2 years, 3 years.
3 years, really, yeah, because the last two Rutgers won.
They made it sound like we're the 1918 Red Sox or something. Holy God.
Well, I mean,
they haven't won the Big East in 3 years.
Imagine that. And they won it for 11 straight.
The last time we won the Big East, I was 49. And now I'm 52. You know how long ago that was? But when you win 11 in a row and then go 2 years without winning it, it's like shock to your system.
Yeah, it's a shock to the people of Connecticut. Yeah.
But it really brings it back to you, like, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. We made it look easy, but it's not easy to do.
No, it's not. I was talking about it with someone earlier this year. Maryland women won the championship last year. And, they've hit some bumps this year. And they've got everybody back.
Yeah.
And that, I think, and then you think about Notre Dame when they won it years ago, back in, what was it, 2000?
2001.
2001.
Yep.
And then it's hard to keep. You guys make it look really easy. Tennessee is always really good.
Yep.
But that's a lot harder to do. And there are fewer kids that can help you do it with the recruiting now.
Well, yeah. I mean, going into this season, okay, we did not have one player that was first team All Big East on our team going into the season.
Wow.
So when you look at the returning, we didn't have one player that was preseason All-American. So there wasn't this, well, you know what, they have the best player in the country, or they have the best player in the league, or they have the three best players in the league. So they should win it. They picked us to win it in spite of all that.
Yeah.
In spite of all the lack of respect they gave our players, because maybe they didn't earn it,
Right.
which they probably didn't.
Right.
They still picked us to win it, which is kind of odd. There were some teams that had two players,
Sure.
And the only one they thought on our team was Renee would have a good year. Everyone else, they were like,
Didn't they pick Tina to win Freshman of the Year?
yeah, they picked Tina to win Freshman of the Year. Yeah.
And that kid, Jessica Dixon from South Florida, was picked.
Oh, yeah.
Player of the Year.
Preseason player of the year. Although I don't think she's going to get it.
No.
So what's it look like now? Duke,
What do you
Tennessee,
got
Connecticut,
here?
North Carolina, Maryland, Ohio State, LSU. LSU got beat last night. Tennessee won in overtime last night.
Yeah. We're taping the show on Friday morning.
Yeah, this is Friday morning.
Yeah. Who played? I don't have today's paper with me right now.
Who played what?
Tennessee, but no, it was Drexel, I think, played it at
Five overtimes.
Longest game
History of women's
in the
basketball.
history of women's basketball. Whew.
Imagine 5 overtime.
No. 5 minutes each, right?
Yeah. It's an extra 25
That's an
minutes.
extra.
It's an extra half.
They played three halves.
Yeah, played 2.5 games.
Wow, that's great.
I'd have left after the second overtime. So look, man, I got a reservation for dinner. I'm out of here.
Well, one thing we talked about your bench points before and how you need your bench to do a little bit more. For you guys to realize everything that you want to attain this year, you got to get stuff out of your bench. You can't get in foul trouble, and you need to stay healthy. And there were a couple bumps and bruises the other night that we'll take a look at here.
No pain, no gain.
Whoa!
That kid drilled Keisha right there. Oh, my goodness. Was that Renee? Yes, that's Renee taking the charge. That's another good one right
that
there.
ref called like 3 charges in a row.
Yeah. Then he didn't make any other calls after that. But that was good. That was a good play there. Once Keisha gets her feet in front of you, it's tough. I think this is the one where she gets hurt. Like her head just slams on the floor here. Watch. Boom. You don't see it.
No, and her father, I talked to her father right after the game. See, looked like she was grabbing her left hip, but her father was afraid that the kid fell on top of her, which she didn't, thank goodness.
No.
Rosie Regal right there, the best trainer.
She banged her head.
See, we don't have a great shot of this because the angle, the camera was rightfully following the ball.
Yeah.
So you didn't really have a shot. And you knew for Keisha to be down, she had to be really hurt. And not that you wouldn't come out for any of your kids, but I could see the look of concern on you when she was down because this kid just doesn't get hurt.
I gave her the test. If you can pass that test, you're good to go. Seriously. If I say how many, and you give me a number, that something's wrong with you.
Yeah, she had the right response. She just laughed at you.
She went, shut up. She said, leave me alone. I feel bad enough as it is without you screwing around.
Oh, my gosh.
We got to stay healthy. That's the key. That's the
It
key for
is,
everybody.
yeah.
I mean,
But
think about
you guys more
Think
than-
about the 2 national championships we won with Diana. And guys you probably don't remember.
Yeah. And
If any of those guys had gotten hurt, if Diana, Ann, Barbara, especially Diana, your chance of winning a national championship, 0.
was it her junior year that she was so banged up with the back brace and the ankle? No one knew that she was wearing this back brace all the time.
Yeah, she wore it all the time.
Her ankle was a train wreck.
Yeah, she had a crack in her back.
Imagine that. And the kid continued. Maybe it was from carrying everybody on her back, but then
Maybe.
the following year she did it again.
Yeah.
Her senior year. So.
And that's, if you're going to win a national championship, you have to be incredibly talented. You have to have a great player to step up, and then you have to get incredibly lucky.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're reading on camera, by the way.
I am. Well, you're talking, let you ramble, and then I'll come up with the next point. I want to read a quote that you said just about winning the regular season. Not winning it for a couple of years all of a sudden makes you feel more appreciative of how difficult it is. The way the league is now, to be unbeaten up to this point after losing 3 starters and not having a senior, these guys have done a great, great job relying on each other. Now, you've had a special feeling about this group from the beginning, haven't you?
I have.
And I think a lot of people thought you were crazy.
Yeah, they did. But I like this group. And like what you said there is the league is really good.
Yeah.
Although the guy who writes for the Current said maybe they're undefeated because the league's not that good. I'm thinking, okay, well, we have 4 or 5 teams in the top 20 all year long.
Yeah,
And we're
that's pretty
undefeated
good.
because we were winning by so much.
Right.
Maybe we're just really good some days.
Yeah, what is the average? Is it 24 points, your average margin of victory against
Something
Big
like
East
that.
teams?
But that's because we beat some teams by a lot. But this team is just, they get it.
Yeah.
And even when they don't get it, they're trying to get it.
Right. And I've said this to you before on camera, not quite the same way I've said it to you off camera, but you were not the happiest guy the last 2 years. You weren't the same person you are right now. You were kind of miserable the last 2 years.
What are you trying to say?
You were. You just, it wasn't the same kind of group that this particular group is.
You're talking about me? You got to be
You were
talking
funny.
about me. I'm the only one here.
It was funny.
Like funny like I'm using? What do you mean? Like do I amuse you? Funny like a clown? That's from Goodfellas, in case you're wondering. But anyway, what happened was the last 2 years, the team that we had, Ann, Barbara, Will, Nicole, those guys, they have been, their first 2 years, they won national championships. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Right.
Now, all of a sudden, that's the goal.
Right.
And because that's the goal, no matter what happens, unless you reach that point, it's like, ugh, it's a terrible feeling to constantly have that, and you probably know you might not be good enough to do it. So there was this sense of like, no matter how good we play, no matter how good we do things, it's not going to be going to be good enough. And they were constantly searching for their identity.
Yeah, and that's exhausting.
It is.
It's frustrating.
It is. And this year, without having any of that, heaped on them, I think they were great at just looking at each other and saying, hey, let's see what we can do. And it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you do seem to be having more fun. And I've had people, just random people, come up to me, whether it be at the grocery store or wherever, and just say that you look a lot happier.
I am a lot happier. I'm so happy sometimes that I'm depressed at the fact that I'm
You're
so
so happy that you can't stop crying.
I can't stop crying.
To quote that Sting song. Okay, let's do some letters, shall we? To start off, I want to say hello to our dear friend Ernie in Las Vegas.
Ernie.
Hi, Ernie. He watches us on Hoop Streams.
Does he?
On the computer, yep. Diehard fans.
At 4 o'clock in the morning when he gets back from the slot machines. Is that what he's doing?
Ernie, thank you for watching. And, of course, our good friend Judge Troop and Tom in Middletown. And Judge and Tom, I know you guys wrote me letters, and I brought them home, and I left them at home. I'm sorry. We'll deal with them our next show, I promise.
And, Vinny in Brooklyn, we're going to get back to you next week. We don't have time for you today.
Could you please explain the difference between a zone defense and a matchup zone?
Nothing, really.
Well,
I mean, there's not much difference.
Matchup is more of a man.
Well, sometimes people just give names to, everybody plays their defenses a little bit different, but a zone means that you're in particular areas and then you start guarding people who are in those areas. And man-to-man means wherever your man goes, that's where you go.
Right.
Sort of. And a matchup zone, supposedly, you're in an area, but you're playing it more like man-to-man.
Right. And it's
basically, it's just one more way to screw up. That's the way I look at it. Because every defense is somewhat man-to-man. Every zone is somewhat matchup. So, anytime...
Well, there have been so many variations of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you guys play a lot of variations where you play a sagging man-to-man where you're hard on the ball and everyone else has a foot in the lane and they know where their guy is. But in a lot of it is to kind of mess up the offense for them to run their zone offense because they think you're in a zone, but you're really in some sort of a man, so they can't really run their stuff.
The more experienced your team is, the smarter they are, the more you can screw around with things. So some years we have to play very simple stuff, and other years we can get pretty cute at some things that we do.
Right.
And it makes it really hard for teams to score against us.
Right. And you guys have always been good defensively.
Yeah, we have been.
During the Marquette game, the basketball hit the top of the backboard. The ball remained in play and didn't change sides. I understood when the ball hits the top of the backboard, the ball became dead and changed sides. What's the deal?
I don't think the top of the backboard is out.
Is it when it hits the wire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes
well,
it hits
because the out of bounds line is
right
behind.
Right.
So that's still
if
in play.
If it hits part of the
basket
actual
support.
construction.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the top is not necessarily out.
Yeah, I think.
But then again, it might depend on who the official is.
Well, funny you should say. Many times in a game, the referee calls a foul on a defensive player when it is evident the offensive player initiated the contact by jumping in, up, and into the defense. What is the rule on vertical space or position for defensive players?
The rule is the officials are generally 90% unsure what to call in that situation. They have no idea.
I thought the officials were good at South Florida.
The officials have been really good the last month.
We had Lisa Mattingly and Mark Zentz, and I didn't know that other guy. He called a bunch of offensive fouls.
See, what happens is, and maybe it's just inexperience too, or maybe the game's getting, obviously it's changing.
Right.
And the officials, I think, are going to have to change with it. But you're starting to see more when a guy dribbles the ball, and all of a sudden, they just throw themselves into you, and you can't get out of the way.
Right.
And they call the foul on you.
Right.
It's unfair.
Right.
And now they're starting to call that an offensive foul more than they ever have in the past. But the biggest thing is you can't go like this.
You got to keep your hands straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah, they talk about breaking that plane when you come down, and I say that a lot because, Tina, usually Tina or maybe Kylie.
Kylie's the worst at it.
Kylie's a big offender.
She goes like this.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the guy gets near her, she goes like this. You know what? If I stay like this, they're not going to call anything. And then nobody will know who I am. So, and then she whacks the kid, and then she goes, "That's me, Kylie McLaren. Hi, Mom."
Well, and that's it. If she had kept her arms straight in the air, and she may not block the shot, but she's at least going to give the kid something to think
The
about.
Marquette game, she had like 4 blocks in the last 3 minutes because she just went like this.
Yeah. And
That's all you got to
the
do.
great mistake that kids make. As soon as you cross that plane and come down, that's when the official. You
And
make it easy on the official to call the fouls.
I told both of them. I told Tina and I told Kylie. You know, one's from New York, the other one's from Washington, D.C. I said, didn't you guys walk to school all the time? You see a bunch of people walking around like this? I said, it should be easy for you guys. You saw this every day. Knuckleheads.
You are a knucklehead.
I know.
All right, well, coming up after this show, which, if you can imagine it, it is nearly over. Time flies when you're having a wonderful time.
It's over. It's not over till it's over.
That's right. I'm not singing it just yet.
And you're not the fat lady either.
Villanova after this game, after this show.
How about Villanova's not going to make the Big East tournament?
For the first time
ever.
In what, 23, 25 years?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever been in the 8-9 game, which back in the day, you had to win that game to get into the tournament when we only had 9 teams in the league.
Right.
Then everybody came to the tournament.
Right.
Now, if you're one of the bottom 4, you don't get invited to come to the tournament in Hartford, which I think is wrong. Yeah. I think everybody should come. Because you could actually go to the wrong school, be lousy, and for all 4 years that you're at that school, never play in the Big East tournament. Now, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, that is
I think, you know, you're in our league, you should come to the tournament.
And what is the thought? Is it just too many teams?
Well, the top teams would have to play too many games. And they asked me, and I said, well, we're usually one of the top seeds. I don't care.
You want to, yeah, so you'd what, play 4 games?
Yeah, I don't care. Figure out a way for us to do it. But bring those people up here.
Right, yeah.
They just, I mean, come on, you're missing out on one of the best things about being in the Big East.
And how great would it be if one team comes out of nowhere and runs the table?
What about Villanova? You know, they're 1-13 or something in the league right now.
Yeah.
What if they came and won 3 games? Now, the chances of that happening, who knows?
Well, hey, look at West Virginia in the tournament last year.
That's
they
exactly
made a
right.
great run.
They had lost 8 in a row coming into the tournament.
Yeah.
And they almost won. They almost went to the NCAA tournament if they would have beat us that night.
Yeah.
So I think
exciting.
You know, in addition to the excitement factor, you know, Cinderella story, I think it's an opportunity for us to reward every kid in the league by showcasing, you know, them to the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right.
So if anybody's
we'll
listening
keep working
out there,
on that, all right?
Write letters to your congressman and get that done.
All right. Well, so we have the Villanova game on Saturday coming up after this show. And then Rutgers game Monday night.
Monday night at the Rack.
At the Rack.
I like to put their fans on a rack and stretch them. The worst fans in the country, by the way.
I understand your mom is not going to the game.
My mom's not coming to the game because she was so disgusted about some of the things that happened to her behind our bench.
Yeah,
yep.
They are rude.
They're the worst.
I've been there.
The worst.
And
I mean, we've been in bad places. Don't get me wrong, where the fans are rowdy and all. They're just the worst.
Yeah, there was some guy screaming something at you at the South Florida game. That big guy on the end line,
yeah.
He was yelling all kinds of crazy stuff at you.
One guy yelled, "Hey, you look better on TV." I said, "Well, yeah, you don't look good anywhere." Sometimes you just got to have fun with these guys.
I was going to say, that was a very mature comeback.
I know. Oh, yeah, you too. But you can have fun with those guys.
Yeah, you can.
You can. You know, like, you see the guys with the horns in their head painted green?
Yeah.
They were yelling, like, brutal stuff at Kylie.
Yeah.
And I went over to him. I said something after the game. I said, that's uncalled for.
Yeah.
You can get on our ass, but these are kids your age.
Right.
I said,
you can't be mean.
And who's the dope? She's on scholarship at University of Connecticut. You got horns on your head and your body's painted green. Who's the dope in this picture, huh? So sometimes you just got to remind these guys.
Yeah, they're
But
kids.
the fans at Rutgers, honest to God, they're miserable. They don't live down the shore. They don't live in Philadelphia. They don't live in New York. Okay? They got nothing to live for. So they just come out and they're just miserable.
They have a team. They support their team.
And their team is good.
Yeah,
they don't support their team. They're full of it. They support their team when we come to town.
They don't get fans otherwise?
Hell no. They get what? 2,500 maybe? What are they averaging? Check their attendance figures.
I don't know.
Then we come down, you know, and there's 8,000 people in the building because they want to kill us. Like, that's what? What's that make you if you beat us? And they have a good team.
Yeah, they do.
And they've had a lot of success, and they don't go to the games. And then when we come in, they all want to come in, you know, because, you know, they want to beat Connecticut.
Well, if they happen to see the show or talk to anybody who sees the show, that might incite them a little bit more to come to the games.
Good. How can you make them any worse? Seriously.
What should we expect from the players?
The Rutgers?
The Rutgers players, yeah.
They're good.
They are good.
They're really good. You know what? They're a much better shooting three-point shooting team than they've
Yeah,
ever been, which
yeah.
makes them really hard to guard.
Right.
Because,
And
you know, they always could go by you. Now, Kia Vaughn has gotten a lot better. She is just
she's a
unbelievably
monster.
good inside.
She's great.
And those guys can shoot the ball. Essence Carson's having a great year.
Yeah, Matei Ajavan.
She's getting healthy. Epiphany Prince has added a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they're just really
Now,
good.
and you guys, you know, have to play them twice, which,
Yeah, that's
And
TV. That's TV.
yeah, and they're not. I think you made them look worse than they were when they came here. They didn't play their best game.
No,
by
I don't think
far.
either team did.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's going to be the same way Monday.
It's a slugfest.
Yeah, both teams get together. Both teams are really
Right.
good defensively. The intensity level is pretty high.
Yeah.
And, you know, it usually turns into a little bit of a scrum, you know?
All right. Well, very good. Well, we will look forward to that on Monday night. Folks, the Villanova game is coming up. Coach, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to be with me.
Tune in Monday night.
We
and
will
see a bunch
enjoy
of
the
people
game.
wearing
We'll
red going, like that.
We'll see you soon.